Yeah, in the Simpson protocol, we work in what we call very deep states. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we call the Esdale level, a very deep state of physical relaxation.
Right, the Esdale level is one of the deepest levels, and it was actually discovered by Dr. John Esdale back in 1843 in an Indian prison. He was a surgeon, a Scottish surgeon in an Indian prison. He had a lot of very ill people, prisoners, and can you imagine the conditions there must have been back then? But nobody had taken anybody this deeply before. And so when they did this, they discovered that they could actually do natural anesthesia. We all have that capacity within our bodies, as long as our minds and bodies are relaxed enough to allow for it, without shock. And they discovered, really was what's so important, they could actually turn off the capillaries and some of the blood supply to areas where they were cutting these people so they didn't bleed out. People didn't die from surgery, but even better than that, they had better outcomes in surgery when surgical anesthesia was finally brought in. And the problem was they didn't know what else to do with it. But they were doing surgery with it, and in most instances it worked fine. Eventually they started to use it for childbirth as well. But it really had no interactive usage at all. 1950s, mid-1950s, when a man named Dave Ellman, a highly touted, highly esteemed hypnotist who taught only doctors and dentists and professionals at the time about hypnotism in general, and he discovered how to purposely bring people into this deep state called the Esdale level. He also discovered how to bring them out just by talking to them. So this meant you could take them in and out. And he said at the time, this is the new paradigm in hypnosis, but he couldn't do anything beyond that. So he could do surgery, and he could do dental work, and he could do childbirth, but he couldn't do any interactive change work like therapy work. And so while he used it in years beyond that, it wasn't until just the last 10 years or so that finally somebody figured out how to interactively talk with a patient client while they're in that deep hypnotic state. And this is the lady right here.
I know you'll think that's crazy, but once you're in it and you allow it to happen, you'll start getting answers from your mind that you don't consciously necessarily agree with.
And they show up in your fingers.
So we said a yes and a no figure, and I speed it up to the point where the conscious mind can't keep up, because the conscious mind can't think of very much things at once, so some kind of small amounts of information. And the rest of the mind is incredibly quick. So it can move those fingers faster and easier than your conscious mind ever would. Just like when you used to drive, you had to first think about moving the gear shift and everything, but if you had to do that forever, you
get very tired, actually.
You get very tired. You couldn't do it. So once it becomes subconscious, then I trust those hands better than actually what you tell me. That inner guidance. We all have an inner guidance. You all have an intuition. You all wake up in the morning with a problem that you thought of the night before, and it's solved in the morning. And that is coming from your own mind. It's that inner guidance. It comes there. So the inner guidance in those higher levels can run the whole show. All I have to do is be there and lead you through it. Now, always asking the mind if it's okay to do it, so it's totally in charge. If it says no, we don't do it. So the client is in total running of that.
Well, we also ask the deeper mind if this is in your highest and greatest and best interest. And if we get a negative to that, we don't go further. So we always have your mind's permission, not your conscious mind, but a much deeper knowing part of your mind.
And understand that we say that the subconscious is their safety mechanism, and at these levels it's actually much stronger.
It needs to be done, and then
many times we don't even know. We don't have to know everything.
That's right.
All we have to know is that you know. And as long as you know, we can lead you through the whole process.
Right, and all the work that gets done within you, not with us, within you.